Hey there, welcome to Secrets for a Happy Life podcast. Quick question. When was the last time you asked yourself, do I genuinely trust and respect who I am? If you don't have an immediate answer, stay tuned. You'll find this episode incredibly helpful. Today we're talking about building a healthy relationship with yourself. By the end of this conversation, you'll have practical steps to overcome self-criticism, ditch people-pleasing, and step into the confident version of you that you know is inside. Our guest today is a transformational coach who has helped hundreds of women break through their limiting beliefs. She's here to share real, actionable tips on self-trust, self-acceptance, and everything in between. So let's dive in. What's the biggest misconception you see out there about self-love, and why it's so easy for us to confuse self-love with actually trusting and respecting ourselves? Eva, welcome to our channel.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so nice to connect with you.
So, Eva, will you tell something about yourself? How did you come into this world of coaching? What do you do? Who are your, who do you help with? And what is your, I won't say goal, but what is your definition of helping others? And why did you choose to do that?
Okay, thank you. I'm Eva. I'm a personal and business coach, and I help ambitious women create successful and fulfilling careers. I am also from Slovenia, like you, and I got into coaching for personal reasons. In the beginning was purely for me because I felt stuck. I didn't feel fulfilled. I wanted something more. I wanted to get free. And when I started coaching and when I started learning and all of that, I saw the power of this work. And so I decided to share it with more people. And it was just like a snowball effect. It started with me, but then it went to another person and another person. And my definition or how I see this work is, I think it's about connection. Yeah, I think it's about connection. Connection, like our connection with our clients, connection in groups, connection of women coming together and talking about things that we usually don't talk about in our childhood or in schools or at work. We don't talk about the deeper things. And that's why it's so important for me to talk about it, to see you are not alone. I am not alone. We are experiencing this and it's human. So let's just talk about it. Let's work with it. And then everything can transform. Yeah.
I love that. I also started because of my personal things that I was going through. And it's really interesting when you start to learn a little bit more about what you can do, there are no limitations, and you can see all those different aspects that are still out there. And if you have a little bit more knowledge, that you can achieve them, and that really our only limitations is our knowledge base and also our imagination, what we can do. And you're really good in that you can transform those visions that people have, or maybe help them to find what do they truly want. Did I understand it correct?
Yes, correct. Everything starts with vision and clarity. One is just admitting to themselves that they want it and removing the noise from others. Sorry, removing the noise from others, from their parents or peers or school or Instagram, even like asking themselves, what do I want? And admitting that, because that is scary. And then taking small steps towards that.
Yeah. What would you say? What is the healthy relationship with yourself? When somebody is talking about self-care or self-love, and first what we think about is, okay, I'm gonna go out with friends, or I'm gonna drink a glass of red wine if somebody is drinking, or I'm going to go for a massage. What would you say? What is the real self-love and self-acceptance, self-care?
These are good questions. I personally think that wine and friends and bubble baths are great and they are part of self-care, but they're not at the core of self-love. I think it goes deeper than that, and it's more about self-acceptance, self-trust, self-respect that you develop through learning how to listen to yourself, listening to your body, listening to your intuition, and learning to put yourself first. And that doesn't mean that you're mean to other people. That doesn't mean to you that you don't ever do anything for somebody else or never put them first. But it's for me, it all started with learning about myself and creating safety for myself, not relying on my partner for the safety, for example, but feeling safe within. And self-trust, like what do I stand for and what do I want? And then creating my life around that, not to please everyone, but to rely on myself. So these are all deeper things than just the bubble bath. And one great question that you can ask yourself if you do want to create more of those qualities within yourself, because it's easier said than done. One great question is, what would someone who loves themselves do? Or what would someone who respects themselves do? So if you are in like drowning in indecision and you're not sure which way to go, like you can always ask yourself that question, like what would someone who respects themselves do? Or if you're in unhealthy relationship or a toxic job, what would someone who loves and trusts and respects themselves do?
An excellent question. And I think we should ask this ourselves every day, not only like when we have this small crisis or big crisis in our lives. You mentioned before that you need to learn to trust yourself and how you, something in those words, and to know what you're really feeling. But how do you help somebody who is really in their heads? Because I met so many amazing women, really good in careers, but they are just stuck in their head. And when I ask them or say them, trust yourself, they don't know what it means because they never went deep in, they're just only like thinking logically what is there, what to do, what is the next step. But maybe like I think what we are now trying to reveal is how to get connected with your deep passion, values, feelings. And I think this is quite hard for some people. Do you have any suggestions on how to start?
First, I can 100% relate. I was also very much in my head. I was all about the mindset. I think first it goes into this, first when somebody starts to work on themselves, it goes into this like toxic, sometimes it can go into this toxic positivity. I am amazing, I'm beautiful, everything is possible. Yes. And then you learn it doesn't work like that. And the key is, I found that the key was really to slow down and to connect with your body. And I was forced to do that when going through a heartbreak. When my partner ended the relationship, I was kind of forced to not just be in my mind because everything came up. And when I realized, okay, I can just be with everything that is, like with all of these heavy emotions, that was when I actually started to connect with myself more, to see myself more, and to love myself more. And so it doesn't have to come to some hard situation. It doesn't have to come to your heart breaking or you grieving for somebody or something. But in like a normal day-to-day life, I think it really is about slowing down. Just it's actually a hard question, okay? But to just slowing down, however that means to you, whether it's through a slow form of exercise or maybe it's meditation. For me, I don't really meditate, although I hear it's useful. Or it can be journaling, or it can just be like, I don't know, trying to consciously bring attention from the mind to the body and feel whatever you need to feel. Give it like a few seconds, give it a minute. You can set a timer and then feel what you need to feel.
Mm.
I'm not sure if this answers your question, but I'm also curious what you have to say about it. I think it's an interesting discussion.
Yeah, I'm the advocate to follow your body. So whenever you are doing something and you don't feel good inside, let's say you have this project that you work on, and whenever you start to working on, you just don't feel okay. I think those subtle feelings that we have, the sensations in our body, I think when we start to, like you said, slow down and listen to those sensations, then we will start to unravel what is really going on inside us. And maybe
Mm,
this is a relationship, maybe this is our work, our career. Maybe there are some friends that every time that you see they're calling you, you just feel like,
yeah,
okay.
so yeah.
And I had to, like you said, my journey also started when my ex-partner dumped me. And it was like a total transformative journey for me. But when I started to think back, whenever I was driving home, I felt this knot in my stomach, like what is going to happen today. And I think those subtle things we can start to listen to and interpret them. What is my body trying to tell me? And
Yeah.
if we are not blind to it, if we don't turn our face around and just look into the other direction where we think it should be everything beautiful and smooth and nice, I think that we can answer ourselves like very difficult questions. Why do I
Mm,
feel this? And is this aligned with my vision? And if it's not, then just do something about it. Because when we are just in this quid pro quo situation, like being really stoic about something, I think it's also not okay because we don't take action and we are just losing ourselves in this comfort zone that is not so comfort anymore. And now
mhm.
it's a really good time that I will ask you if you can share us your turning point in your life when you realized that you needed to refine what a healthy relationship with yourself is.
Mm.
We were talking about something that happened in Berlin, and I would like to hear more about that.
Alrighty. Um, yeah, I was studying in Berlin, and after my studies, I got offered this fancy job. It was in like a vegan cafe as a manager, and it was everything that I wanted. It was like I would be working with people. I would be working in a cute, like vegan, like modern cafe with great food, great offers. And so at that time, I was already living back in Slovenia. So I decided to move back to Berlin. I accepted this job. I got a beautiful apartment and I was very happy. But like you said, I was happy in a relationship. But like you said, there was something deeper that was coming up that I didn't admit. It was not the long-term kind of relationship, but I didn't admit it at the time because I was so lost in it. I was so sure that that person represents my safety, that person represents my opportunity, everything. And so I was living this life. I was like, it was great. But then as soon I realized the job like turned out to be highly, highly toxic. And at the same time, my relationship ended from one second to the next. And I realized it later when I was in therapy, but everything in me, the fear of abandonment and everything else was triggered so deeply that I had panic attacks. I had constant nightmares. I couldn't sleep alone for a few weeks. I slept with my friends. Okay. And I was so anxious while going to work. I hated waking up. So it was everything combined. And it took me quite some time. It took me 6 months at that job. And now, when I see it, I would have left way earlier. But it took me 6 months at that job. I was like persistent because I was taught that if you start, like, I was brought up in a way that if you start something, you should finish it. That's just how it is. And I was so persistent. but I came to a point when it just like didn't work anymore. When my body was screaming to get out, my head was persisting and my body was telling me to get out. And then when I finally listened to my body, like you said, listening to your body, listening to that gut feeling, and then I decided to quit the job, move back home, and that's when things started to change. I then went on a mission to find what I actually want to do, went on a mission to heal my heart, to learn to be with myself. And yes, it was, yeah, very much needed. Like I thought at that time I was, moving back to Slovenia, back to my parents. It was like a step back, quote unquote, which I later saw as a huge like step forward and a completely new chapter. And I feel like it's in the hard moments that the self-love and trust and acceptance really deepens, that you start, being with yourself, not in the happy moments, but in the hard moments. And this period was a really hard moment for me. And through doing the work on myself, I saw like I became a completely different person in a matter of a year. And I started to, I got happier. I started to enjoy life. I had hope again. Before I lost hope, then I had hope again, and I rebuilt this passion for life that I lost in between. And when I saw that, I started to share it. I started to host workshops. I started to work with people and I shared it with others. And that's how everything kind of evolved for me. I also then met my partner who we've been together for 3 years now. And I, worked with beautiful women on their relationship with themselves and their career. And yeah, I'm very I'm very happy right now. I still live in Slovenia. I live with my partner in the mountains, and yeah, I'm very happy.
Hmm. Before we move on, I would just like to reflect on what you said. You said like when you moved back to your parents, it felt like a huge step back, but it was in true sense a step forward. And I would just like to emphasize that because in so many times in our lives, we feel like somewhere in our lives we go like a little bit back. But the truth is that when we slow down, when we start like from the scratch, when we break the illusions of how it should be in our lives, and we really start from scratch to go with our new path forward, I think this is the true transformation. And the other thing was that you needed to go through the hard stuff to really transform yourself and to find your true passion and to really live what you have inside. And if you look to all the amazing works of art, I think everybody when we are in these hard times, when we feel like there is no way forward, we create something beautiful. And I think it's in those dark times they really transform us. But you have two types of people. Some, they go into this victim state and they are
Yeah.
like, oh, poor me, I cannot do anything. Look what happened to me. And their life is finished. So they go to drugs or to some destructive behavior. But you have also people who, like you and like me and many beautiful humans out there, who decide that we go through the pain, and when we go through the pain, if we don't shy away, then we see what is possible on the other side. Because I
Mm,
think going through hard times is something that shapes us, that we get this thicker skin and we see what we are capable of. Without
mm,
those hard times, we don't see what we are capable of.
mm,
We live in our comfort zones. This is the way we lived our whole life, what the parents taught us, what the society taught us, but we don't know what we are capable of. So I think we
mm,
need to fall on our knees and really pick us up and go forward, because we think that we are doing 100%, but maybe we are driving in, let's say, in a Ferrari 10 kilometers per hour when we could be doing like 300 kilometers per hour, but we are thinking, oh, we are doing like our best. So I think when we really, like you said, go through dark times, harsh times, then we can see, oh, there is more in me. I'm capable of more. And I really love it how you said
Can I
it,
also add
and
something here?
amazing.
Can I add something here?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. I love the analogy of the Ferrari. It's the first time I hear it. I love it. And I also just want to add to what you were saying. I think it's so hard when you are in the moment, when you are feeling low and it's hard and you're going through a heartbreak or you just lost a job or someone that is close to you. Like when something hard is happening, it's now we're talking about it and it's kind of in our heads. It's easier to talk about it. When you're in it, it's really, really, really hard. You know, you don't see the way out. You don't know how it's going to be in one day, in 1 week, in 1 year. And one question that really helped me get through this kind of day-to-day stuff, apart from connecting to my body, that was like my number one. You know, I did a lot of just like slow kind of movement then. But one question that really helped me, and I think it can help the listeners, is for this, whatever is happening, to be the best thing that has ever happened to you, what else would need to be true? So if this breakup was the best thing that ever happened to you, what else would need to be true? So you would need to start to love yourself. You would then need to do this and that, and this would need to happen, and you would meet the most amazing person that you know for this, you know, to be the best thing that happened to you. So this was a question that I always went back to whenever I was feeling low and like there's no way out.
Yeah, because when you feel like your life is over and there is no way out, it's really hard to see that what happened is the best thing that happened to you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
then you
it's
don't see it yet. You
no,
see it years later.
you're on the
Yeah.
other side. Yeah, really true. I love this question. I really like it.
Yeah.
And it gives you a lot to think about, and also shattering old beliefs. Like for me was, what kind of person do I need to be
Oh.
to live a different life or to have a different experience, to not come into this situation again?
I love this question.
Mm.
Mm. Interesting. Okay.
Okay, let's go back to ambitious women who are stuck in their lives and in their career, and maybe they want to transition into something different. What would you say? What are the common patterns, like, for example, self-criticism or people-pleasing, that you've noticed that people are using to self-sabotage themselves? And what it might be something that they start to recognize those patterns and they start to change them a little bit.
Okay, good question. I think some common patterns that come up, at least with women that I work with, is fear of failure is a big one. Fear of the unknown. Sometimes it's like, yeah, I don't like my job, but I'm afraid to change it because what if it's gonna be even worse than what I have right now? Like this is just good enough
It can
for, but I
happen, yeah, but
yeah, yeah. Like this is like it's a shitty situation, but it's just good enough that I stay in it. You know, it's just comfortable enough. That's like such a common pattern. Um, there's also this thought of like, what will other people think of me? That is so common, I think, especially for women that are, you know, through generations used to please others and put others first. And then once you start to put yourself first, it's like, whoa, this is scary. What will people think of me? Or if I choose this path that I'm actually interested in. I, for example, had this a lot. You know, I wanted to become a coach and I was like, oh my God, what will people think of me? I'm such a fraud. They will think I'm a fraud. And it's just something you go through. I think it's just something you go through, the imposter syndrome. Whenever you're changing your job or something, your identity, it's natural that it comes up and it's just something you go through. And what I found with all of these patterns, whether it's people pleasing or perfectionism or fear of failure, is that everything is present for a reason. Your people pleasing tendencies or the fears that you have around starting something of your own, everything is present for a reason. And usually that reason is to protect you in some way. Maybe it's not the most efficient way, but it is a way of protection. It is a way for you to stay in your comfort zone because right now it's known, and whatever is known to us, it's projected as safe. Maybe it's not even the best thing, but it is safe because, that's how it is. We know it, we're comfortable. And I think the first step to change, I think, is just to become aware of one, your tendencies, your patterns, your thoughts, like these things. And then two is to try and see it, like that comes with slowing down and seeing, why is this pattern present? Why did I say yes to that person when I actually said no? When I wanted to say no, it's because I didn't want them to think something bad of me. I wanted to please them. I wanted to, whatever. In finding the reason why these patterns are coming up, and usually we see that they're trying to protect us. And so this, I think, creates some more softness. So it's not like judging ourselves because we procrastinated or judging ourselves because we said yes again when we wanted to say no. But it's like, okay, I did that because I want to be liked. And I want to be liked because then I feel accepted and I feel safe and I belong. I want to belong. So we can always go deeper. And I think then it's just about, when you have that awareness, it's just about slowing down once again and consciously deciding not to indulge in these patterns, and consciously deciding or consciously trying to find new ways for you to be safe and for you to belong and for you to like yourself. If you want to be liked, the change starts with liking yourself, because then you don't have such a need to be liked anymore because you already like yourself. Not sure if that answers your question though.
Yeah.
But
But I've got, when you are talking, I've got like 1,000 different questions. Like, and one is, okay, when you are in this situation, in this social situation, when you want to say something and you don't say something because your patterns kick in and you feel like, okay, if I'm going to say something that is not congruent with the situation, or something that I just am really passionate about, but I know that that person thinks differently than is my opinion, how do you proceed so that you go and say it, and you just, do you ignore those bodily sensations, or what do you do?
Okay, it's an interesting question, and I feel like there's more answers to it. There's more ways to go about it depending on a person. Because I think it's good to not ignore the body. If the body, like it's hard to just like ignore the body if it's like screaming and if it's like resist and like no 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 no. The wall is up for a reason, okay? And you're scared to talk in the group for a reason. You're scared to express your opinion for a reason. And what just came up for me is how I would proceed in this situation is little by little. So getting comfortable with speaking your mind with one person, and then maybe with two people, and then with like a small group of friends you trust. And then slowly, little by little, you come to a point when it's getting more and more comfortable to express your opinion, no matter who you are expressing your opinion to. And then the second thing is that it's all about perception. So yes, you may come to a point when like you speak your mind, and even if you're criticized, at some point you learn that the criticism is not about you. The person who is criticizing you has a certain relationship with themselves, and they are projecting it on you, and therefore they're criticizing you. But their criticism, their words, their thoughts and opinions have nothing to do with you. Because I feel like if you are a stable, normal, kind human being, and if you are happy with yourself, and somebody else expresses their opinion and you don't agree with it, you're not going to go criticizing or arguing with that person. If you are content with yourself and you have your own opinion, you're going to allow other people to have their own opinions. So whoever is criticizing you and whoever is, I don't know, being mean or judging or whatever, you just have to remind yourself that you wouldn't do it. You, as a person, as a happy, normal, kind person, you wouldn't do it to other people. And therefore, their actions, their thoughts, behaviors, whatever, words have nothing to do with you. That is one thing.
That is so
Okay.
true, but it's such a long way from like feeling that you cannot speak, especially if this was your coping mechanism, that you
Yeah.
felt safe in your primary home, and
Mm,
to just switch that thinking, okay, whatever I say, and if somebody else is then criticizing me, this is their inner world showing out. This is quite a huge step. So I think we really need to work a lot on ourselves
yeah.
with our wounds, with our all these core limiting beliefs, and just slowly peeling them like an onion, those limiting beliefs away, and really allowing ourselves to step in our true power, in our
Mm,
own
yeah.
power, and
I
yeah,
want to add something.
just do. Sorry.
Can I?
I'm so
Can
excited
I
about this topic, so I just jump in.
I love that you said primary home because everything comes from childhood. And I also, you said, it's a step-by-step process, it's a long process, and it requires really deep investigation and like some deep inner work. And if this was your coping mechanism, which for a lot of people it is, for a lot of kids it is their coping mechanism, it's great to inquire into that. It's great to ask yourself questions about it, like where is this pattern coming from? What are the memories that come up when I am in this? Like what is, and I think this is great to work with a coach or a therapist, because if something comes up, it's great to have this space. And that's why I love coaching, because it's not just about strategy. It's not just about like, let's take action, but it's really about this deep inner work. And it's a lot of times that it goes back to childhood. And it's like, oh, I remember when I was little and I needed to be quiet, because then if I wasn't quiet, my parents would start to argue. And I thought it was because of me. I thought they argued because of me. So I want to keep peace. I want everything to be peaceful. And so, of course, this pattern still plays out. But as an adult, it's really our job to start to become conscious about that and to change that. It's like, it's reminding yourself, I'm not a kid anymore, I'm an adult, and I am safe regardless. I am safe whether I speak my mind. I am safe if even if that person judges me or disagrees with me, I am safe. So it's really about like, yeah, this happened, and having compassion for that and being with that parts of ourselves, our younger parts of ourselves, and then as an adult making our own decisions.
Mm. So we, in a sense, we step into our own power when we start questioning those limiting beliefs, and we asks ourselves the question that you said about. Do you have any question for people, like how do they know what is true, what is not true, that they can remove the weeds from the truth? You know, that they found their deepened truth, that they can find their own power. What would you give them some advice what to ask themselves if
You
they're
mean like
questioning their inner voice, let's say?
Okay, questioning their inner voice. Whenever, so you mean if something kind of negative, a negative kind of inner voice comes up when
Mhm.
you're about to do something and this voice says, "Oh, it's just not gonna happen," or you're not capable.
Mhm.
Okay. Something that I learned to ask myself, and it's a process that I learned in the coaching certificate originally from Byron Katie. It's simplified, okay, but I just love to ask myself, can I can I with all certainty, like 100%, know this is true? Can I absolutely know this thought, this statement to be true? Can I with all certainty know that I will fail? Can I with all certainty know that I will be judged, or that that person will say no to my proposal? And if you really slow down, this is about slowing down. It's not just about like our mind, but it's really about slowing down. And usually the answer is no, because you cannot know. We are not fortune tellers. You cannot predict the future, and you just don't know that you will fail. And the next step is to ask yourself, okay, what else can be true? And here I don't mean the negative things, but what else can be true? Like, yes, of course, I may fail. That's a scenario number one. Scenario number two is it may go it may become so good, or that person may say yes, absolutely. Then what is scenario number three? Like, I don't know, that person will ask me to partner up with them and lead this project or whatever. There's so many scenarios, and it's really about one, slowing down, and two, it's about mindset. um because whatever we focus on, there will be more of that. Whatever we believe to be true, it's perception. Oh my God, it's so much about perception. It's about what we see as truth. There's no one truth. You and I may have two completely different truths about one specific, whatever topic. And then there's the third person and the fourth person. So it's really about slowly like changing your mindset and becoming aware of your thoughts, so that then you can choose different thoughts, because your thoughts create your reality.
Yeah, I love that. Our thoughts really create our reality. And I always think, when you want something and you are a bit afraid of doing something, just think about what is the best outcome that can happen. So because people usually think about the worst outcome that it can happen, and that they put a lot of obstacles between them and the situation. But when you start to switch that and think about, okay, if I do this despite my fear, what is the best thing that can happen? And then you will get the courage. Okay, so it's not like shooting to the moon and you might shoot to the stars, but you shoot to the stars and then you might land on the moon, because
Yeah,
just to get this courage of what else is possible. And
that's possible. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
Do you have some technique or some ritual, some things that you are doing that you see that it's really powerful, that it helps you to grow as a person, or to keep like a score of your, I won't say good deeds, but your accomplishment in your life, or something else like that? I like to talk about these things because when some successful people tell about what their rituals are, maybe somebody else thinks, okay, I could do that too, and then they start to do it, and then they see the positive difference what it can make in their lives. You have something like that?
Yeah, I love the question. I have a couple of things, and I also do these with my clients. It's not like I do everything in one day, because like that's not the case, but I have seasons. And also depending on what my clients need, I then suggest one of these things. But the first thing is definitely this, like what we talked about before, questioning. It's so much about questioning the truth, what we believe to be true. That has been a constant practice for me over the years, and it has helped me so much. And the second thing which comes to my mind when you say kind of like tracking your successes and accomplishments is very simple. It's a success journal. And I think this is, yeah, I think this is great to do when you are feeling like not as confident, or when you're not seeing the progress. I think it's so great to keep a success journal and write down every evening before you go to sleep, or every morning you write down your successes of the day. And let's say 3 successes, and they can be simple, no matter how big or small. You just write down, because over time it's a way to change your your mind patterns. It's a way that over time you see like, oh, wow, you start to focus on the positive, you start to focus on the successes versus getting stuck in how nothing goes right in your life, And the third kind of thing that I suggest clients to do, and also that I did when I was going through this phase of finding myself, my purpose, and what I want to do, and my strength, is asking people that I actually respect and care about and who are close to me, that I trust and feel safe with, asking them for their opinion of me in terms of what they see my strengths are, what they see that I am, good with, and what I'm talented with. And so it was so beautiful. I did this after I came back home to Slovenia when I was so lost. And I asked a couple of my closest friends to reflect, what they see in me. And it was so beautiful to read their reflections of me and where my strengths lie in their eyes. So this is a great exercise to do as well with the people you really, really trust.
I'm thinking, who can I ask this question? I'm sorry. Yeah, really, really, really good. Really good. When you were talking that, I just remembered that I was writing the compliments I received, especially because of the thoughts that I usually get before period, when everything is black and white and nothing goes the way I want it. And I think many women have this fluctuation, like when we are aligned with our menstrual cycle, and sometimes we are on our peak of the power, and like a couple of days before we feel like, oh, nothing's working out. And for couple of years when I was in those days, I just started to read all the compliments, like, you did this really good, like, or even when I was had good days, sometimes I just wrote a good compliment for myself by myself. And then when you read that back, or successes, or what somebody else says about you, or the compliments, you just feel, yeah, it's not so black. It's good. My life is okay. I can do that. I am confident. I am okay. I'm capable of doing this. Yeah, so I really love that. But we have to be a bit mindful of the time. I could be talking to you like for hours now, because it's a really, really nice topic and I'm really passionate about. But if it would be just one like simple step to begin building a healthier relationship with themselves, if this is advice to a people, especially if somebody is really, really busy, what would you recommend? This is a starting point, just to wrap up a little bit.
I would honestly go back to the question that we talked about in the beginning. What would somebody who loves themselves do? I know it's a very simple question, but it's powerful for a reason. And I think whatever I don't want to say goal, because that sounds very rigid, but whatever you want to develop more of. So if you want to cultivate more self-love or trust or faith, acceptance, respect, whatever your purpose is, use that word. So what would somebody who respects themselves do? And then ask yourself that question every day, especially when faced with an important decision. But if this becomes your daily practice, and it's such a simple, small question, but it can reveal really big and transformative answers. And that is definitely what I would recommend people start with.
Yeah, love it. Yeah. How can listeners and followers can share their wins with you? Like, where do they find you? Where can they find your work, and what are you doing? Like, where can they book a session or webinar with you? And if you maybe have some special like tips and tools. We've covered so many of them. So, and maybe just pick like 3 most potent one that you feel like they're really helpful to most people, and just tell us where to find you.
Alrighty, thank you. Well, I'm most active on Instagram at Eva Gadalin. I assume you will post the link below. That's where I'm most active. You can always send me a message. I'm most happy when I can have close interactions. I'm that kind of a person who appreciates deep conversations and close interactions. So I'm very happy to receive any kind of message. And I also have a great resource. It's a 5-step process for ambitious women to overcome fear of failure. You can get it from my website or Instagram. It's linked. The website is linked. So that is like a great tool if you want to do it, just like on your own time. And then something else that I love to offer, and it's completely free as well, is monthly masterclasses around different topics, but really aimed for ambitious women who feel stuck in their careers, and to create a fulfilling careers, fulfilling life, and in a conscious, gentle way. So if this is something for you, you can follow me on Instagram, you can subscribe to my newsletter, and you will be notified about the masterclasses, and I will be very happy to see you there.
Lovely. I think I will join one of your master classes, because it's
Yeah,
you
happy
speak so
to.
nicely, and I really enjoy listening to you. Eva, thank you for your time. I really appreciate you. Thank you for your knowledge and contribution to this world. And keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Petra, for starting this podcast, for listening to your intuition and your body, and sharing everything that you know with others. And it's just amazing. So I'm inspired. Okay, I'm genuinely inspired. Yeah.
Thank you. So thanks to all who are listening. Thank you for sticking till the end. Please share this episode, subscribe, and follow Eva. She's amazing. So see you next time. Thank you, Eva, and bye-bye.
Bye.